Good morning, everybody. This is the Highly Suspicious Podcast with Louie and Preston.
My name's Preston.
I'm Louie. We're at the Trap House.
I love it.
So this is this the earliest we've ever recorded?
Absolutely.
It has to be.
It is 11 o'clock. Not that early by most people's standards, but yes, this is absolutely the earliest we have ever recorded.
I was telling Preston that I needed to record today.
So we made it work.
And he was like, we might have to do it super early because I mean
before noon, like.
And I was like, well, noon isn't super early by any
No.
How are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good. My hair's still wet from the shower. I had a good breakfast. I just have work later.
Do you have
It's whatever.
Do you have a set morning routine that you follow every day?
Pretty much. I let Boomy out.
Good dog.
I make a breakfast. I usually have like egg toast, and if I have sausage, I have sausage. If I have ham, I have ham.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty full breakfast.
So you're
couple cups of coffee.
You're a I need to eat breakfast guy.
It's more so I've been trying to bulk for a long period of time, and I've slowly put on a good amount of weight.
For sure. You used to be skinnier.
I used to be a fucking twig, dude. I was 160 pounds at the start of college. Insane.
He was all
trying to get
limbs and he didn't know what to do with them.
I'm 6'2". I want to be like 200 pounds and 6'2". I think I'd feel pretty decent at that size. And I don't think I've put on a lot of fat. I do probably need to stop dirty bulking, because that's kind of what I've been doing. I have enough of a metabolism to just say, fuck it, give me calories. I'll work out 3 or 4 days a week, and that's enough. But that's also why I'm trying to go shoot hoops with you and I want to get a bike, because I need to do some more cardio. I'm probably what would be described as skinny fat, where you can look healthy enough, but your fucking organs might have a little too much fat on them. You know, your fucking blood pressure might be a little fucked.
You don't need to worry about it.
Angelina was telling me I eat too much fucking salt on shit, because I made popcorn and I was doing it like movie theater popcorn with super buttery, a lot of salt. Because I wanted movie theater popcorn, and we bought kernels instead of popcorn bags because it's a better deal. And I made it super salty, and they grew up, they're raised by an older woman. They did not put salt on shit. They would season it otherwise, but not put salt on shit, really.
That's an American problem. That's not a Preston problem.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
I was just craving something salty,
Everything you enjoy has fucking sodium in it.
Yeah. Everything you enjoy is probably slightly bad for you. If I'm being honest.
Well, if that ain't
she was like, something's going to get you, Preston, in 20 years.
Something gets everybody.
Yeah, I was like, everybody's got something, dude. I mean, I'm going to rely on the miracles of modern medicine to save me, if I'm being honest.
We were saying in the last podcast that we just wish our consciousness could just leave our body. And
absolutely. Well, I think that's kind of what happens when you die anyway. I was talking the other day about how, I think if you do enough psychedelics and spend enough time outside, you'll start to really think about it and be like, damn, we're all just energy, man. Atoms are mostly empty space. We're held together by fundamental forces that we barely understand. Everything's just kind of energy. And all comes from the same source, same Big Bang.
People are confused when they speak to me because I'm kind of an anti-capitalist type of guy.
Yeah.
But I'm in finance. I'm a business guy. And I'm a quantitative guy. But what people don't understand is if you don't think about all schools of thought, then you're never going to really understand anything.
Absolutely.
Every school of thought exists for a reason. In the same way, science goes with religion, they go like this in real life because the scientists say the world's this old.
Yeah.
And
I think
the Bible said dinosaurs and humans roam the earth.
I think spirituality and science can go hand in hand, because that's where some of my spirituality comes from. It's, scientifically, energy can't be destroyed, and like I said, we're all energy. Mm-hmm. We all come from the same Big Bang.
That's what I was saying.
There's the same heat, that, if energy can't be destroyed, there's the same heat warming our bodies from the sun, warming how our body produces heat that was there at the beginning of the universe.
Yeah.
You know?
Energy,
and we're all made up of substances that are found throughout the rest of the cosmos.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed.
And
if
what is
religion
consciousness?
Talked about that,
you know?
Consciousness is
if not
energy. What's the difference between a live person and a fucking corpse?
They're brain dead. There's no electricity in the brain
going through your brain.
Absolutely.
Isn't that insane?
It is insane. Because it's crazy, because when I think about like immortality in the way that you were talking about, how your consciousness can just leave your body. You were saying Force ghosts. I almost would go like yes, but no, because I think you wouldn't retain yourself. You wouldn't have. You'd probably experience ego death when you die, which is also what can happen on high amounts of psychedelics or like on DMT, which is a chemical that is released when you have near-death experiences or when you actually die. And so you probably experience ego death, and you probably just become one with like a universal consciousness almost. You know how people talk about like dreams or like visions as like altering
astral
energies
type of thing
in your consciousness. Yeah, that kind of shit. I kind of think it's like that. Like when you die, you enter a different state of consciousness.
It would be cool if it was just straight up like spectator mode. That would be cool.
That would be hilarious.
Imagine how much.
I do think some people become ghosts. I do think that happens. I think that's why I believe in ghosts, because it is the same idea that energy can't be destroyed. And I also think when you're like living your life, you leave energy around where you have existed.
You leave your mark on the world. You leave traces.
Everybody's been here. Yeah. And I do think that dissipates over time.
Is this
the most budded episode we've ever had.
Is this too deep for the podcast part 2?
We'll see.
Is this really where we're at?
We'll see. So
I love how we just went
otherwise, if I was trying to live forever, I'd say do brain in a jar. You know? So like the brain is like consciousness in my mind is chemical reactions in the body and electricity in the brain. And so if you kept both of those going, I do think you yourself, like your own consciousness, would still be alive. And that could be kind of cool. You kind of just live forever.
What do you think about the whole living forever thing? Because sci-fi universally across the board
depicted as
tells
horrible.
us that people that live that long just are suffering.
Yeah.
And they become villains because they're like,
yeah.
All I know is loss.
Yeah.
Everything in my life will go away at some point because I'm going
to outlive everything.
I'm going to live to see the end of the earth type of shit. But there's different depictions of that too. Like in Doctor Who, he lives forever.
Yeah.
And they do depict it. Part of it's sad, but it's also about making the most of it. So where do you fall on that? And what way could you live forever besides brain in a jar,
and like
where you would
feel
enjoy it?
Enjoyable. This is part of what I really like about sci-fi, is that it's kind of like a form of philosophy where you have these hypothetical scenarios that you kind of have to think through logically. And that's what good sci-fi usually is Makes saying, what's the reality of this hypothetical, scientific-ish possibility? I think besides head in a jar, if you were able to preserve consciousness electronically, that would be interesting, because there's then the debate of is that a copy of you and not actually you, but it emulates you and it has its own thoughts and is an independent being?
That's
or is it actually, exactly. Is it actually you? Because in some stuff it's depicted as it makes a copy, and it is almost certainly by those definitions not the original consciousness that is being copied and existing after that state, because you could still have two of them. You could have one version of you and then a digital version of you, and you would exist separately, and you would not share, a consciousness. You wouldn't share a soul or anything like that. So I don't think that would really be you if you copied thoughts and experiences onto an AI.
What if, since your brain is already electricity, what if there was some way to transfer that electricity literally into the computer?
And that's some stuff that's a little more complicated. That's almost what you're talking about as like downloading the brain, where it's not a copy, it is actually taking that consciousness directly and digitizing it. That, I'm cool with that, because then I don't need to eat or sleep. I just exist digitally. You could put me in a fucking robot body, and I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with being a robot. I do question, this is the biggest thing on, like, heavy sci-fi, like, cyborg shit. In real life, people who have missing limbs have phantom pains, where it fucking hurts. But it hurts on a part of their body that is not there. Mm-hmm. So in that sort of, or in a brain in the jar sort of state, would you experience phantom pains everywhere?
For your robot body?
Like, for your body that isn't there.
Well, your robot body is functionally like your real body. So you would feel
your real body?
Unless you're like in an R2-D2
See, that's what I'm saying. What if it's not like a perfectly human, replica body?
All I feel is pain.
Exactly.
It's funny that we're talking about this, because I've thought when I was younger, thinking about like the pains of the human body, like fucking being sick, feeling pain, just all the inconveniences that we always have to feed ourselves.
Right.
That sometimes we get sad. Or all that shit. I used to think, it would be kind of cool to be in a robot
and
I would not have the burden of cutting my toenails every week.
But I also think that would mean you wouldn't be human anymore,
That's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole different philosophical conversation.
What do you think?
I feel like this is interesting, because I was also talking the other day about how we're all just kind of spirits. We're spiritual beings who exist in a physical form. So our consciousness is a spirit, is eternal, theoretically, through the idea that energy can't be destroyed, and does have to go somewhere eventually. Probably universal consciousness in my mind. But the body is just a vessel for that form.
And it's so funny, because I was going to say...
So that pain isn't really affecting you, it's just affecting your body.
Thing. The same people, probably including you, that are saying that you are your soul, you aren't your body, those same people are saying that the robots wouldn't be human.
Absolutely.
Isn't that kind of...
Well, and like I said, you with the living forever alone, but also with the not needing to eat, with not needing to sleep, like if you just need to charge up, you don't need to sleep. You can be awake and be charging. So in a way,
I would like to not be able
to would really detach you from the human experience. You wouldn't be able to eat.
So,
because sometimes, yes, eating is an inconvenience, but sometimes you want to be able to eat something that you enjoy, or drink something that you enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And there's good things about being human. I'm not saying that I'm totally jumping ship the first chance I get, even though I might be the first motherfucker with a robot body.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: so, is it any more human if it's like a sci-fi thing where the actual human brain is in the robot?
Human brain in the robot.
Like,
that's attaching the brain in the jar to the robot body.
Would that make it human if
you still wouldn't need to eat? You still wouldn't need to. Well, you might need to sleep.
I don't know.
Sleep is a function not just of the body. It is part of how we like store memories and shit like that, or like process subconscious shit in daily life. So let's say maybe because it doesn't...
Maybe slightly closer to being human.
Maybe slightly closer in like the state of consciousness that you would exist in. But you still wouldn't have human needs. So I think it would still be detached from the human experience enough that you might not, after a certain point of existing like that. Same with you are digitized consciousness. After a while of living like that, wouldn't you stop feeling human? You never sleep. You never eat. You don't have to go to the bathroom. You just exist all of the time.
What if...
You don't need to work, because you don't need fucking food.
That'd be sick.
Just plug in.
I would enjoy that.
Just go to the mall and plug in.
That'd be
Go to the fucking Tesla.
Yeah, but electricity would become your food.
Kind of.
And energy's not cheap nowadays.
Kind of.
I'm going to slightly shift the conversation. Okay. Going back to what we were saying about living forever. Would you want to live forever in a situation where there's no robotics involved? If it was just, medical advances, cancer is cured.
Yeah.
There are no more diseases.
So just live forever in the human body?
Everything that kills you doesn't kill you anymore. I guess probably there would still be extenuating circumstances, like if you got swallowed by a gator, I'm sure you would still be dead if you're indigested by something.
So you're saying, like, Basically, we can live forever.
But you would age. You would keep aging beyond.
Oh, really?
Beyond what we know.
So we haven't cured aging.
It wouldn't just be. So
I would
you would
not
live
want
forever,
that. I would not want that at all. Bro.
You would end up like the bitch from SpongeBob in the wheelchair. Chocolate. that would be how you would end up.
Absolutely not, bro.
You wouldn't do that.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know, because kind of what you were saying, you would still be able to enjoy earthly
I don't
things
think you'd be able to enjoy life.
Like food.
I don't think you'd be able to enjoy life decrepit like that. Like, fucking half mummified already.
But it would be like how it is now, where people would be taking care of you. You know,
maybe
you would have.
I think in that future, robots are taking care of you. Like the working class has been replaced by robots in this kind of future.
Robots are going to get in this conversation whether you fucking like it or not.
I'm just saying, I don't think they have actual nurses in this society at that point. If you're living forever in your shitty body, I would say more interesting is what if you can like build a body, you know, where they can grow you a new body and put your brain into it.
That would be the same. It would be the teleporter conversation.
No,
all over
I'm not saying they're copying your brain. I'm saying they're taking your actual brain
and sticking it in another body.
Not cloning you.
Even then, don't you think that the brain would stop?
Well, so
in the transfer.
I'm saying science is advanced enough that they can do it. I mean, there have been very crazy transfers like that, like body part transfers like that, where it's fucked. I don't think I'm making this up. I'm pretty sure I've read about this before, where there's been like experiments on dogs way back, where they tried taking the head of a dog and putting it on another dog, and it lived for a while and then died within like an hour.
That's nuts.
It's nuts.
That's
because
totally
it's a very difficult transplant because it is very risky. It's not likely to accept it, but we're saying science is advanced enough that they can make it accept the host brain, or the host body accept the brain.
So I would do that if it was just like a straight up clone of me.
But not a different body.
Because that'd be
crazy.
That goes into the whole designer babies thing.
Yeah, that's worse than designer babies. That's designer bodies.
It's essentially the same thing. The only difference is you're choosing
not from birth.
For yourself as opposed to your parents choosing. Yeah. Oh, I want a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed...
Super baby.
I want a Homelander baby.
Homelander baby.
How do you feel about that?
Designer babies?
Yeah.
That's just fucked, dude.
But it goes into the...
That's so morally questionable. Same for a designer body. I would be cool having my brain, if science was advanced enough that there's like a 90% possibility of success on the transfer of a brain to a new body, and it's cloned of me, cool. I would take another body if it just means I live forever, but that would be cool. Because then that's a full human experience and you can live forever. Or
then you take the risk of getting a whack-ass body.
That's the other way to live forever in my mind through the human experience is they've stopped aging. Or stopped aging to the point where, like, we'll say make every 10 years a year or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right.
That's living a long fucking time. That's living longer than humans are meant to. You know? I think any sort of immortality like that is crazy because you're still getting the I watch everything around me die experience. Mm-hmm. You know? Also, shit like that would fuck the population. People would probably stop having so many babies, but also...
If that happened...
The population would blow up.
If that became a thing where you could make it where people stop aging, you would have to... That would be where the government would have to step in and be like, look, if you want to live forever, you have to get a vasectomy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we are going to be like cattle in this bitch. We are going to have so many.
That's also why we just gotta move to another planet. You know, we gotta have human colonies and shit.
Shit, fuck that. I'm moving to the ocean.
Fuck that. Bottom of the ocean.
I'm gonna say this about designer babies. This is my take on designer babies. You're changing shit about the baby to make it fit your physical idea of perfection.
Yeah.
But you're playing God,
Facts.
And when you play God,
that's what I mean by morally
going to
questionable.
be unintended consequences because
Absolutely.
you aren't God, you aren't omnipotent.
Yeah, you're gonna get humbled by
shit.
the universe.
So if you're doing the designer baby shit, you could tweak the wrong gene. Maybe the genes are right next to each other.
Yeah.
You turn on the fucking serial killer gene or something like that, or you could literally be making monster babies, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
And I, like I said, I don't necessarily mean physical monster, but like, you could birth these children and they could just be evil.
Yeah.
That's literally possible.
Yeah.
When you're fucking tweaking genes like that, because genes don't just affect your body; they affect your mind.
Well, and also it's like you're talking about the human experience, and so if you grow up, that's like you find out as a kid that you're a designer baby. Wouldn't there be such a superiority complex that comes with that? That's like, fuck you, normie. I'm better than you.
It's also,
I'm a designer, bitch.
I thought this is where you're going with that, but part of the human experience is having
imperfections.
Bodies.
Absolutely.
And not having that, it's like, you don't know what that would do to you because that's a part of the human experience. There's no one that doesn't go through that. Fucking Brad Pitt.
See, that's what I was about to say. I think
Scarlett Johansson.
I think
all
that
went through that.
All the like
perfect
people in the world, like perfect looking people in the world, are a good case study for what that might entail. Though
there are no people.
Aren't there so many fucking narcissists who are of an elite? Because if you're paying money to design a kid, you got money, so you're already from an elite class, right? And then you have the I am genetically superior to you mentality, and then you have the I am perfect mentality. Those could all cross over and make a fucking serial narcissist, but also could cause like crazy psychological trauma where it's like you don't even know who you are. If you are brought to be aware, designed. Yeah, if you are made aware of the real implications of being designed and not just like by chance and being born how you're born. But also the like people who are raised with the expectation of being perfect have a lot of stress usually. Mm-hmm. And so then there's like weird ego shit and weird, self-consciousness about how you actually are maybe not perfect. You get imposter syndrome.
For sure.
That could be fucked. Fucking designer babies is kind of scary because that shit seems so close to happening. And I do not fuck with that shit. Music time.
Preston, I say this so much, but I have to keep saying it because it's true every week that I have musical intermission. The whole time leading up to it, I have a bunch of ideas of, that would be a great song. Oh, that would be a great song.
Yeah.
And then when it's day of crunch time to fucking pick something, Louis, you chode. You wait a month for this at a time. I wait like a fucking month a lot of the time. And now I'm just not great when I'm put on the spot, for real. I don't...
It's okay. I fucked up last week. You can take your time. Sometimes I feel that exact same way, too, where it's just like, I'll listen to something, and I'll be like, damn, this would be a good musical intermission. And then I'll keep listening to different stuff, and I'll kind of keep feeling the same way. And then it's so hard to choose in between all of them.
Both the most. I don't really get it. Y'all ain't really with it. All they eat the rich, tax the rich. Y'all ain't really about that shit. Bitch, if you want some money, you can say that. You deserve a payback. These niggas took everything. Let's go get that and take it to the hood, though. Share it with community. We soldiers in plain clothes. Everybody got their role. Don't be a op. Everybody got their role. I'ma play mine like Scooby-Doo in a haunted house. I see the ghosts that they talking about. I see the signs. Read in between the line at the crime scene. I ain't fucking with the NFL or Jay-Z. Propaganda for the military complex. The same gun that shot Lil Terry out west. The same gun that shot Samir in the west.
You just listened to Namesake by No Name. There's a channel I watch called Deaded Hip Hop, and there's someone on there that always talks about how he likes music that challenges him. He likes music not only sonically challenge him, being like, okay, this is
because it makes
this
it
is some other
just to be
shit
sonically
that you've never heard before. That challenges you because it's like, well, I don't even know how to listen to music like this, and I've listened to music like this. But conceptually, music should be able to challenge you in that way. Music should
Absolutely.
be able to be provocative in that way. That's why when there are anti-lyric motherfuckers, I just don't get it. I don't get it because do you never get bored of the same subject matter in every song? Time and place, right? When I'm about to go to a party, I'm listening to some Future, I'm listening to some Young Thug, I'm listening to all that shit.
Right.
So it's not some hip hop shit that I'm on, hip hop head shit that I'm on. It's just understanding other perspectives, which is such a crazy thing you can do in music. And this is one of those songs that challenged me because she's talking about the racist ass NFL.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she's dissing all these other artists that we all know and love, but she's not dissing them, and I'll talk about that in a second. But she says, I ain't fucking with the NFL or Jay-Z.
Damn.
And she's talking about how Rihanna and Beyonce and even Kendrick.
Yeah.
Kendrick's someone we all prop up as being the socially conscious god.
Yeah.
And what she's saying is absolutely true. The NFL is glamorizing these war machines. It's glamorizing war. There's always, standing for our troops, standing for the military. You got all the... That's a lot of halftimes, too, where they have just a bunch of soldiers out there. People don't even understand the optics of that, because we look at North Korea doing shit like that and think that they're crazy.
We do that shit all the time here.
But
every fucking air show in the fucking country is military propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the fucking... Nikki's been watching SWAT. Think about all the fucking NCIS fucking shit that idolizes cops, that idolizes the feds, that paints them as these people that are borderline fucking superheroes in these shows. And it's some bullshit.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. She was watching fucking SWAT, and I noticed a couple of these motherfuckers had thin blue line things on their SWAT helmets. And I'm like, this is fucking propaganda. What are you doing? I couldn't watch something like that intentionally, Mm-hmm. I think that it's all pleasure. A fucking absolutely because it's action packed. It's good.
If you're someone like Nikki, I mean, the propaganda is not gonna work on her.
Absolutely,
she's not getting it.
But it's still, you're giving them views,
But shit like NFL, that's what the shit is about. Not just that, but the racist shit. NFL is notoriously... Absolutely. I mean, we've chronicled that on the show. I enjoy the NFL. I enjoy watching it. I've been betting on it recently, making money on it.
But you're also aware that
there's some cognitive dissonance for me, as well as a lot of other NFL fans, where it's like... It's the same type of thing as this, where like you're happy for Beyonce, you're happy for Rihanna, you're happy for Kendrick being on the biggest stage of the world in front of white people.
Yeah.
In the same way that watching football, you're supporting the racist owners, but you're also supporting these young black men that a lot of them
are making
didn't have anything growing up, and now they're able to feed generations above them and generations below them.
Absolutely.
So with all things in life, there's some cognitive dissonance. And
absolutely.
Including this song.
So that's what I really appreciate about No Name, is they're always provocative. They have some bangers that are just, bangers.
For sure.
But they also are very socially conscious. Probably one of the greatest lyricists,
recently.
Active,
for sure.
Absolutely. At the moment. This is a prime example of the song, is this is what No Name is like. It's good that it's called Namesake, because this is a prime example of No Name's work.
I didn't think about that, but that's true.
And it's also crazy because I like that they give a real perspective on shit. It's not just like a lot of hip-hop that is kind of dissing and just judgmental.
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, they acknowledge that they can be happy for someone having this platform, but they can also question that platform at the same time and question whether or not they would want to be on a platform like that.
And the last line of the song, I don't know if you caught this, but in that whole bridge where she's talking about "Go Rihanna, go," she says "Go No Name, go." Coachella's stage got sanitized. I said I wouldn't perform for them, and somehow I still fell in line.
Absolutely.
And then she says, "Fuck."
Being self-critical is honestly something that I can really appreciate in a musician.
Because if she didn't say that, that would have been a straight up diss to all those artists she's talking about.
But she said, I'm in the same boat.
But she understands it. And that's how we need to have more conversations, just in general, is less like, fuck you, and I'm right, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Everything's gray area. The reason why the two-party systems work so long is just that divisive politics of, they say that we're bad, but the liberals are throwing money out the window. Yeah. And the liberals are like, but they're evil. We're just incompetent, so vote for us. They do
Incompetence
that,
better
they
than
do
evil.
that constantly.
Yeah.
So everything in this point in time is fucking gray area. So the fact that this isn't made preachy and it's starting...
is very real.
A dialogue that needs to be had about black artists and who they're actually supporting, who they're actually behind. But the white people have the money. But even if you're anti-capitalist, you're still working in that system. But that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Something she said that really stood out to me was, I don't really get it. Y'all ain't really with it. All that eat the rich, tax the rich, but you ain't really about that shit. All this other shit about the NFL and talking shit about Kendrick, all of that, I have some cognitive dissonance with, because part of me is like, yeah, I kind of see what you say. Part of me is like, I disagree with what you say. But that's something where it's like...
I don't know if I can disagree with them too much in this song. I get it. And this isn't my first listen, actually. I listened to this a little while ago. I just haven't had it on a playlist or nothing. But it's one of those, like, it's too provocative and too conscious for me to just kind of vibe to.
Yeah,
you're not going on a playlist, but it is a banger.
To that.
It's sonically solid, and the lyrics are crazy.
I like the flow, too.
The flow's great.
But, you'd have to be in the type of mood to listen to something like this, for sure.
No, I like this. It's actually one of the few times that I like the Genius analysis for some bars. Mm-hmm. But dream about revolution, air pollution, same solution, socialism, they ain't really fucking with, though.
I was about to pull that up, too.
I like that it provides context, saying No Name has openly, described himself as socialist and thinks socialism is the solution to a lot of our problems. But then they also kind of point out that next line talks about how there's been a disconnect with socialism and
black people,
the black community in America, and that used to not be the case. Socialism was heavily influenced by, honestly, the African American community for a long time was the main group practicing socialism, doing community work that was very socialist and having a very socialist mentality for solving their
wealth distribution,
their problems, and making sure everybody in the community is taken care of. I'm glad that they pointed that out, because
that's something that challenges
now
me too.
They said there isn't a conversation between black people and socialists nowadays, and it's more so that socialists play advocate for black people in America, and try to say that they're doing what's in the interest of black people in America, instead of involving them. Which is kind of the case on a lot of things, and I really don't fuck with some white savior mentality shit, so it's kind of interesting for them to be kind of pointing that out.
But saying that revolution and air pollution, she says same solution, socialism, I don't think that's her actually proposing that as the answer. I think she's kind of saying that.
Well, and I think that's where that next line, being critical of modern socialism, is.
That's a lot of people's solution for everything. If we were just a socialist society, everything would work great. And it's just a fucking shallow, and a lot of times it's a shallow attempt at seeming like you're smart and different.
I think that it's a look at society in a very specific way, and it's kind of just saying if this was implemented instead of current existing systems in our society, that would solve all the problems. But there are so many problems that have been going on for so long that there's no way that is the only solution to everything.
Yeah.
But I also think including that line immediately after.
And with socialism, there would still be some kinks to work out. Well, so people just say
a big thing
straight up socialism. That's
that I see online
an answer on anything.
Is talking about how white socialist groups need to work on their inclusivity and honestly stop advocating for people of color and indigenous communities of the world and actually let them lead, because historically indigenous groups and people of color have, like I was saying, the African American community for a long time was the main group practicing socialism in our society. Mm-hmm. And same for the indigenous people of this land, like their views on the environment. We need to be supporting them instead of taking the lead. Like I was saying, white savior mentality. Yeah. It's more so about, I feel like it's not just saying socialism can't be the only solution. It's kind of being critical of what socialism is colloquially, like,
for sure,
in perception for a lot of people. It's saying more so we need a different kind of socialism, mm-hmm. more inclusive socialism.
For sure. Okay, where do we go from there? Should we get silly for the last part of the show? Because
how silly?
I don't know. We could get silly. Let me see if I have anything.
Any news?
This isn't really a topic, but here's a fun fact I saw that I want to say. So British India tried to get rid of cobras by offering a reward for captured snakes. Locals started breeding.
I heard about this.
Locals started breeding cobras and giving them to the government to collect the reward. The British found out and stopped the program, and then the breeders just released all the snakes and ended up increasing the population. Yep. Isn't that kind of a mindfuck?
That's hilarious. That's one of the best stories ever. Like that's some shit where I'm like, I love history. I love how dumb history is, because shit like that is hilarious.
I think it's so funny because it's like...
It's what I would do.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
it's so relatable.
That's a perfectly reasonable... Oh, you're talking about from the breeder's perspective. I'm saying, if you're in the government and you're having a cobra problem, that would be the solution I would bring.
Yeah, bounty on cobras.
Yeah, just financially incentivize the people to catch the cobras.
Dude...
But what you're saying is true too. Like, I'm not going into the wild trying to catch cobras? What the fuck do I look like?
I could just make a bag and breed them. You know?
I wonder how they found out.
Were they were like, damn, there's too many cobras coming in. What the fuck? We've lost so much money on these cobras. And then they started cracking down and investigating it, and they were just like, fuck it, let all the cobras loose.
I was thinking maybe like everyone's turning in a bunch of adolescent cobras, just
baby
slightly,
cobras.
Yeah,
something like that. You know how if we don't study history, we're doomed to repeat it. What if Florida does something like that, where they're like, we got a bounty on all like invasive pythons and anacondas, and so people just start breeding them to collect the bounty, and then they crack down on it, and then it just blows up the fucking python anaconda population.
That is a true argument for small government, because when you see shit like that, where you try to come up with solutions that just it literally makes shit worse, it's just kind of funny. It's kind of like the Hawaiians having the snake problem, and then they release a bunch of mongooses in the wild, and now they have a mongoose problem.
That's happened a lot with like colonialism too, where they'll bring animals to help with some shit. And then it's just like, actually, what if it fucking wrecked the environment? I think dingoes are like one of the craziest examples of like colonialism affecting the environment, because they had dogs that they brought over. Those dogs got out, became their own kind of fucking
bang with wolves.
I think they just like interbred and became a specific kind of wild dog.
Dingoes are lit.
I think they were descended from a different breed.
I wish we had dingoes, for real.
Dingoes here?
Have we talked about the wild-ass animal sightings in Louisville on this podcast yet?
Give me an example.
So
we got jellyfish in one fucking pond.
Yeah, that's nuts. But a few weeks ago...
That's not that far from here.
A few weeks ago in like Fern Creek or some shit, someone found a whole-ass gator on their front porch one morning, and...
Oh my god, I feel like I heard about that.
And they just assumed that it was someone's pet that got out, but no one's claiming it, I guess because it's illegal as fuck to have a gator as a pet. But that just makes me think of that episode of Atlanta where he has the giant gator
I love that
just
episode.
In the bathroom. Another thing that happened, someone was on the river at the Ohio River, and they saw a fucking flamingo over there.
What?
And they say that, like, because of, like, some tropical storms and shit, it just got lost as fuck.
All the way up here? Jesus.
A north blowing wind just
blew that motherfucker halfway across America.
Well, that just makes you think of that one meme where it's like, what the hell is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas? Have you seen that meme? That's a good meme.
What else? I feel like there's been, I heard about armadillo sightings in other parts of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Talking about invasive species, man. Like, this is way outside of their natural territory. They're supposed to be in, like, Alabama and shit, but, like, even Tennessee is far north for them.
They're tripping.
They're tripping, dude. Armadillos are kind of cool.
I don't know how I would react if I saw a fucking armadillo on the side of the road, because it's like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
All you see every day, squirrels, deer, fucking robins.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, you drive around and you see a fucking armadillo? Or like a flamingo, and you're like,
if I saw a flamingo, I think I would think I was tripping.
You would have to do the cartoon, like, you're rubbing your eyes thing, like,
is that
you
take your flamingo?
You take your glasses off and go,
so fucking blind that you're seeing shit.
When you're blind as fuck, so you start seeing flamingos. Here's a piece of news that I was gonna bring up last week, but I forgot about it. So Tyler, the Creator, infamously has been on a 2-year album schedule forever. Mm-hmm. And he's part of what's made music consistently interesting, because every odd year he's put out some new music, and that's good, because I feel like the odd years are usually the weaker years.
Oh, for sure.
2015 would be the exception to that rule, but like 2016, 2018, 2020... we're talking about some fucking banger years here. Mm-hmm. Last year was fucking insane. But he released Goblin in 2011. He released Wolf in 2013. He released Cherry Bomb in 2015. He released Flower Boy in 2017. He released Igor in 2019. And he did Call Me If You Get Lost in 2021. And in the fucking drought of the year that 2023 has been, the music fans have been rejoicing, because the Tyler album is inevitable. He always releases like clockwork.
Yeah.
That's a 10-year history of him consistently.
That is wild. That is a long fucking time.
But he posted on a story the other day, screenshot of the deluxe for his album, and he said, "The estate sale out now, my release for 2023." In this year, it's been an absolute drought. I'm just down bad as a music fan right now. Whoa. Has there been a worse year for new music? I know you're not always tapped into
what's new,
the newest shit.
I feel like from what I've seen, though, it's been pretty dry.
I mean, you usually see something that everyone's talking about.
This whole past year, I've been talking about how the fucking radio seems like it's been the same shit for too long now. And it makes sense when there's not.
There's nothing.
There's fucking nothing dropping.
You would think that people would... If I was a popular artist and I saw that, I would be licking my lips, because if I'm A$AP Rocky,
if you
haven't released it in a billion years, and it's even like an above average Rocky album, everyone will be talking about it.
Facts.
There's nothing else to fucking talk about.
Yeah.
People are still talking about this Drake album that's never gonna release. It got delayed again, by the way.
I know, I heard about that.
So that's another night where everyone else was afraid to drop. So nobody dropped.
Right.
Tonight, this is a Friday. He was originally
good. Bitch for that.
Does he not realize that everyone's doing that everyone's working? People should just not do that, because it's fucking
dumb.
Old ass Drake at this point.
Yeah. Irrelevant.
I mean, he's still gonna do his numbers, but it's not like it's 2016 Drake where literally no one can talk about anything else.
Yeah. Facts. My God.
But yeah, I saved a post on Twitter where people are trying to say, the Tyler thing isn't that bad because the estate sale's really good and it's gonna tide us over. It's not the release for 2023.
No. That's like Bethesda just being like, here's another version of Skyrim, kids.
Yeah.
You know?
This one's called the collector's edition.
Yeah, exactly. That's some bullshit. So what? You threw, like, maybe a couple bonus tracks or something on there? Yeah. I don't know. The fucking...
It's like 8 songs.
Yeah, the fucking...
And some of them aren't good.
I don't know. Uncut version of one fucking song.
Right.
Who fucking cares? That's nothing new at that point, really.
For real.
You're releasing mostly the same album that you did 2 years ago.
I think...
That pisses me off, because I really like Tyler.
How do you feel about deluxe albums?
I feel like that's kind of a low move for him, you know?
I think it's really because his last album, Call Me If You Get Lost, was so successful that he's kind of going Hollywood on us. He's like, I don't need to drop this year. I'm still doing all this money from touring, so...
Yeah. I hope on the next album that maybe... Because I could see him doing it. I hope on the next album that maybe he acknowledges...
If he drops next year...
Yeah. You'd be happy with that?
I would be fine with that.
If he's just taking
an extra year to cook, that's fine.
That's
but
understandable.
If he's saying...
And releasing... That's what releasing the like, deluxe edition is. Is saying, I don't got it in me this year. I'll have something next year. But here's like the bonus tracks.
But if it's the type of thing where he's saying that this is like actually his release for this year, and we're gonna have to wait till 2025 for new Tyler,
absolutely not.
I'm on the Tyler hating bandwagon.
Same. That's all it would take.
Because that's bullshit. And I'm saying, if he releases December 31st next year, I'm still fine with that, because that's still next year. I am trying so hard to shoot that bail, but...
Let's use our podcast powers.
Tyler, the Creator, will return with his long-awaited studio album in 2024, where it's going to be really good.
Gas. Straight gas.
It was written, so it will be so. How do you feel about deluxe albums? Is there any time where people release the deluxe album and you're excited for it?
It would have to be something that's like kind of older, honestly. If it's an older album, you know, maybe I haven't listened to it in a while. I like when even if it's just the studio, you know, when they clean up the audio and re-release it and throw on some bonus tracks.
Yeah, some shit.
Or some shit where I'm listening to like R&B or soul shit, and they'll release the deluxe edition of the album, and it'll have the regular album, and then it'll have the instrumental version of every song, and then like a bonus track. That too. I love that, because sometimes, especially in that genre, the instrumental's so fire that without the lyrics, like, you can kind of hear it going off.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can study and shit to it, too.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do with instrumentals.
Music with no lyrics is perfect for...
Here's how I feel about the deluxe, because the deluxe albums really became... I mean, they've been a thing forever, but I feel
it's still
like
kind of
in the past few years, it's kind of been trendy again. I think Uzi helped with that. But with deluxe albums, I think a lot of those deluxe songs are just throwaways from the original shit that wasn't good enough to make the actual album.
Facts.
So that's...
Oh my god, that's when it really pisses me off.
That's when I'm like, okay,
I see what you're doing there, please.
I have to be a super fan to enjoy that, because it's like, you know, this is more content from this person I love, you know, even though it's worse than I'm expecting, it's fine. It's something to listen to maybe for a couple of weeks. But I think where the deluxes are good are when you kind of expand on what's already there. And one way you can do that is making new stuff for the deluxe.
Like I said, the bonus tracks can be fire.
You know what deluxe is really good that I really like is the Scare in the Hose one, where it was a few bonus tracks. I know for a fact one of them was made after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, because he says something about releasing Scare in the Hose, and he actually scared other people too. But that's where I like it, where you're actually adding value to the original shit.
For sure.
And what's good about that, you said you like old deluxes from older albums. I like when shit's like maybe like a year old or maybe like a few months
and
old.
they throw you a
where
couple extra.
It fuels
Yeah.
me to listen.
Re-listen to
the
it.
whole album more.
For
like,
sure. That's kind of what I was saying though on older shit too, where it's like I haven't listened to it
yeah.
in a while, and so it kind of makes it a little more relevant in my mind.
Because that deluxe did that for me. Another example, someone who did it good was Baby Keem. He did Melodic Blue deluxe like a year and some change afterwards, and it was pretty good, and it was good enough for me to revisit the whole album. So I like when it does that.
Tyler better release something next year. I want a robot body. What kind of...
what more do you need to say?
Yeah, what more do you need to know? Louis played some Heat. See you next week.
Hey.